you make money. So the pips and the lot size. But with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for your RX for Forex. It is time for a talk with the finance doctor. This gentleman has over 25 years experience. He has his PhD in finance and economics. He is here to answer all your questions. So unmute your mic, ask the questions. He's having a lot of fun, helping a lot of people. And tonight, he's here to answer your questions so you can understand the why behind the what. So it brings me great pleasure to turn this call over to none other than Dr. Craig Bythewood. Dr. Bythewood, are you on the call?
Let's try that again. Yes, I am.
Like Dr. Bythewood? Okay, Dr. Bythewood.
You see the irony there? He's always talking about unmuting your mic, and his mic was muted. So I would like to welcome everyone to Thursday nights, a talk with the finance doctor. Been on 2 airplanes today, so I am a little tired, but that's okay because this is the kind of movement, this is the kind of meeting, this is the kind of collective group of individuals operating in a positive way that makes a brother just wake up. So thank you very much for allowing me this opportunity to commune with you in the spirit of education, in the spirit of wealth and abundance, in the spirit of us expanding and growing ourselves. So for those of you that are new, we call this a talk with the finance doctor, your RX for Forex, because we recognize that there have been a great deal of economic wounds that have been inflicted on some of our families, our communities, our groups. And so we think it's important that we recognize that economic wounds can be healed. And this vehicle that we're talking about here, this IML opportunity to invest in the foreign exchange market, a $5.3 trillion a day industry, this opportunity to operate under this subcategorization of be your own bank, where we recognize that banks excel at controlling infrastructure. We want to be responsible for controlling our own infrastructure. Am I the only one that's ever had some money that I wanted access to, but the bank told me I had to wait 7 to 10 days for my money? You know what they're doing in those 7 to 10 days. They are multiplicatively impacting those funds to a great degree. And we have an opportunity to learn the skill to do that. So this movement is just outstanding, and it's named for the fact that we have an opportunity to talk about ideas, talk about concepts, talk about strategies, talk about skills that will help us to do just that, to find some healing for these economic wounds. Now, personally, I think sometimes we talk about the wounds too much. I remember hearing this anecdote one time where a man walks into the doctor's office and said, doctor, every time I do like this, it hurts. And the doctor says, well, sir, stop doing like that. And I bring that up because oftentimes we spend more time talking about the economic wounds than we do talking about the solution, talking about the prescription. So these calls are about medicine. This is not a conversation where we talk about what has happened or why we're in the state we're in. This is a conversation where we talk about what we can do to put ourselves in a better place. So let me welcome everyone to a talk with the finance doctor. Let me welcome our guests. And let me very briefly tell my guests why Dr. Craig Bythewood, AKA Dr. B, is so excited about being a part of this movement, a part of this company. So 25 years ago, in 1994, I earned my PhD in finance and economics from the University of Florida after having majored in finance at Howard University the year before, or excuse me, 4 years before. So bottom line is, when I graduated, there were a few things that were very important to me. And one of them was doing everything I could to help other people reach a level of wealth and abundance. And that is one of the reasons why I am in this rectangle right now. But another strong goal that I had was I wanted to become an active investor in what I referred to as exotic markets. Exotic markets at that time, this is 25 years ago, were those markets that were beyond the average stock market or bond market. And the major market in terms of exotic markets was the foreign exchange market. So we have a business partner that often says it's better to be ignorant and on fire than to be educated and on ice. And I reverse engineered that quote, because at that time, as a 26-year-old PhD, it was very important to me that I did it right. So I wanted to take myself in the lab, so to speak, and prepare myself to be able to invest in the foreign exchange market. So it took me, or let's say that accurately, I took 10 years to get ready. 10 years of fooling myself into thinking that it took that long to prepare myself. So at 36 years old, 15 years ago, I put together a mastermind group. We had an excellent business plan. It was laminated. We were T's were crossed, I's were dotted, we were ready. So we went to a broker and we said to the broker, here we are, we're the foreign exchange exotic market investment group, and we're ready to roll. And we were told by the broker that in order for us to participate in the foreign exchange market, we had to have a minimum balance in our trading account of $1 million. And there was at least one other broker that told us we had to have $3 million to deal with them. So at that moment, guess, I thought that my dream was dead. But in reality, my dream was just deferred. Because now I work for a company that allows individuals to do it on their own for a fraction of the cost. I am an educator. I am an academician. That is the field in which I work. And so the first thing I did when I became a member of IML was I vetted out the educational platform called the IML Academy. And to be clear, one of the things that made me believe in IML immediately was when I heard that IML does not in any way take any fraction of any of our trades. That right there spoke to integrity, because it was obvious, and they set it up that way on purpose, because they're very well aware of what some of the financial intermediaries do in our society. And so as a result, I knew that they were selling not a trading platform, but an educational platform. They're trading the education on how to trade. So the young lady that said, I need training from the rooter to the tutor, that's what IML is. It literally is a rooter to the tutor educational platform. When you start getting into the IML Academy and you start seeing all those videos and you start realizing that the moment you think you've conquered all the videos, then they come out with 10 more. The t-shirt that they sell says, I am a student always. And that is the way this company rolls. And I said all that to say this. I wanted to know, in my educational, academician, professorial opinion, was this a good educational platform that they were providing? And my answer was astoundingly yes. But I also asked this question. I wanted to know, based on my ability to be able to recognize curriculum, but also the way people interpret curriculum, I wanted to know, how long would it take for someone to be able to go into the academy and really dive in, and understand that when I came up with this figure, it was before we were aggressively providing these calls multiple times a week. So I looked at the IML Academy and asked this question. How many total hours would it take for an individual with no prior financial, economic, or trading knowledge to be able to go through the academy and feel comfortable actively trading? And the answer to that question was 10 hours. Now guess, if it hasn't hit you yet, the comparative analysis that I just did, let me break it down for you. It took Craig Bythewood, the so-called expert, the PhD in finance and economics. It would have taken him $1 million and 10 years of preparation. But you can do it for $325 and 10 hours. This is exactly what Michelle just said in the chat. And just for the record, Michelle, typed words have energy. And what you typed put goosebumps on these masculine hands right here because I could feel the sincerity of that. So she said, this is what I have been looking for. This is the answer to my prayer. It is. It's the answer to my prayer as well. Because the dream that I thought was dead was only deferred, and now I have an opportunity not only to be able to do the trading that I wanted to do 15 years ago, but I can offer it to everyone else. I really did think back in the day that the foreign exchange market was so complex that I had to have this type of trading in order to do it. And that is so inaccurate. Every single one of you rectangles can do this. Every single one of you rectangles can do this. So with love and sincerity and support and mentoring energy, Miss Edgecombe just told you, don't be overwhelmed. Well, you know how I am. I like to remix stuff. She was right. But rather than even thinking about overwhelm, rather than even talking about overwhelm, let's just relax and make it happen. There's an African proverb that says, how does an ant eat an elephant? One bite at a time. So guess all you have to do, and those of you that are new, all you have to do is just watch the next video. And then, I like that, Sharon, relaxed intensity. I love it. And then she said, it's difficult. No, it's not. It's a process. And you have to go through the process. So rather than label it as being hard, let's label it as being the process. It's not what you go through, it's what you grow through. So if we take Sharon's words, because in reality, what Sharon was saying to you was, she was saying to you, yo, I've been grinding. But then at a certain point, bloop, it hit me. You never know whether it's going to hit you on the 45th video or the 62nd video or the 13th video. It's going to hit you. You just have to watch the next video. There's only one way to not be successful at this trading game: to stop. That's the only way. If you continue, if you die, and remember, all of this research that I did was prior to these calls. So the great leadership team in this Be Your Own Bank movement has really made it easy for you to just plug in. But I do want to make this point to make sure that we're clear. I know that it's being said by everybody else, but I want it to be said on this call. It is so important that you recognize not just the value, but the purpose of these calls. These calls have the purpose of accentuating the IML Academy. Rather than being a replacement for the IML Academy, they accentuate the IML Academy. I just came from Orange Beach, Alabama. I was visiting a university called Columbia Southern University. I'm actually teaching a class for them that's in Vietnam. So I teach 10 weeks online, then I go to Vietnam for 2 weeks. And I'm really excited about it because the Vietnamese culture, they really value American degrees and they're really hungry for information. And it's just a really wonderful situation. I'm excited about it. So I said all that to say this. They have this store in Orange Beach, Alabama that is called the Yard Milkshake Bar. And I'd heard about it, people talking about it. My children saw it on the gram. So I said, okay, I'm going to check out this place. So I went to this place, and they have this very elaborate situation where they give you these very decorative desserts that are in a dessert jar, a mason jar. And what they do is they give you all of these desserts, but then you accentuate it with the ice cream. The ice cream accentuates the dessert. I said all that to say this. IML Academy is your dessert. IML Academy is your treat. IML Academy is where you get all the sweet information. But just recognize that these cars are the ice cream on top. They accentuate the dessert. They make the dessert taste a little bit better. Now, if this was an ice cream shop, I forgot to say this, the line all day, all night, the lines were around the block. It's impossible to go into this place without standing in a line. Now, if this place just sold ice cream, there wouldn't be any lines. If they just sold desserts, there wouldn't be any lines. But because they've mastered a decorative way of taking a dessert, recognizing how good and sweet and tasty that is, but then accentuating it with the ice cream, they now keep a line. So that's what you have to do. Keep your line going towards your wealth and towards your abundance by recognizing the proper way to set this up. Go to your IML Academy first and let this be the ice cream on top of the dessert. Make sure that IML Academy is your base. So there was a question earlier about how does that translate into money? What a great question. But you have to get that answer not from the 30 seconds that Ms. Dyer gave you, but from the 8 minutes that IML Academy will give you. And then the next video, that's 6 minutes and 47 seconds. You have to go to each one and get it for yourself. And it's okay if you have to watch those videos more than once. We all do, including the finance doctor. So understand that this is a process that will work as long as you continue to dial in, as long as you continue to watch the next video, to do the next trade, as long as you stay committed, it works. So with that in mind, let me explain to our guests and newbies one more thing. I am very aggressively and philosophically intensely excited about this possibility for each one of these rectangles. We have an opportunity to have a conversation twice a week where you can learn in a non-subjective manner all of the mechanisms that go along with our personal financial paths and journeys. Think about it. Personal finance is the only area of our society where the only people who tell you about it are the people who are selling you the product. That is a paradigm that not everybody is aware of, and that is a paradigm which is important for us to recognize, because by recognizing that, we realize we can come and talk to someone who has been exposed to this material for 25 plus years, who has been a financial planner for 25 plus years, who studies the financial market for 25 plus years, and can provide you with some analysis to help you understand the strategies, the tools, the awareness, all the things that may or may not be shared with the banks, by the banks. Remember, they like to control infrastructure. So one of the ways in which banks control infrastructure is they do it by not giving you all the information. So we have an opportunity to realize that although the foreign exchange market is a huge slice, it is only a slice of the economic pie. So I'm going to pause right now and ask you all to take advantage of this opportunity and to walk in the power of the unmuted mic. And before you do that, I say at every call, the calls have life when you unmute your mic. Topics that I would not be able to come with on my own get discussed. And that happened on Tuesday. I've been talking about that conversation we had on Tuesday with a variety of people. And it happened because one young lady was bold enough to unmute her mic and ask an excellent question. So you might be the next excellent question. So many of our Finance Doctor Talks have been so powerful based on your experience and your question and what you would like to know about. So let's walk in the power of your unmuted microphone. And are there any questions, comments, or testimony?
Dr. Bythewood, Gerald D. Rogers here. Question for you. And this is for the benefit of our guests. Why is it so important for individuals who have an opportunity to ascertain information from an individual like yourself, based on, you mentioned that you're an academician, but can you kind of expound on all the areas of your expertise and why this movement is so dear to your heart?
So one of the things that I talk, thank you for that question, Mr. Rogers. One of the things I talk about a lot is my girls basketball coaching career. I coach girls basketball on high school level and also for travel basketball. Been doing it for about 6 years. And one of the things I always say when I coach the young girls, the 5th and 6th graders, is I teach them something called triple threat. And triple threat is whenever you have the ball, you need your body to be engaged in such a way so that the defender does not know which of these 3 things you can do at any point. Shoot, pass, or dribble. You are a triple threat to do one of those 3 at all times. Well, to me, that analogy describes the career that I've been blessed to have. Because I am a triple threat. Because I have had the opportunity, obviously, to be a full-time professor in both brick and mortar and online scenarios. But I've also had an opportunity to be a consultant, where I have an opportunity to be able to look down at the company and see what they're doing and be able to see different nuances and hear the managers talking about the employees and the employees talking about the managers, which gives me a very unique perspective on how companies operate and can operate more efficiently. And then the third threat is that I've actually been a chief financial officer multiple times in my career, where I'm inside the organization, analyzing the finances and dealing with the concepts of money coming in and money going out. So that triple threat mentality means I see it from the educational theoretical curriculum perspective. I see it from the inner organization and what it takes to make it work. And I look at it from a macroeconomic providing mentoring advice situation. So to me, to be blessed to do all 3, I've been able to see all components of the way processes work. Then understand that I told you that when I was 26, my goal was to be a servant. And so it is important to me to serve. And here's something I don't talk about a lot. I spent some time with my mother last weekend, which has this fresh on my mind. I did not major in finance because I wanted to make money. I did not major in finance because I was interested in business. I majored in finance because as a son, as an only child of a single mom, and watching her go through the struggles that she went through as a mom over and over and over, I wanted to learn finance so I could help other people to have an experience different than what my mom had. So hear me, this isn't about a textbook. This is about the heart. This is about the ability to be able to take each rectangle and provide some knowledge and information that you can take back to the families that you represent. So yes, the triple threat is a good answer to his question and a good analysis of what I've been exposed to. But the real answer is that 4th thing, the fact that I really want to put you in a better position. So that to me, Mr. Rogers, is the answer to your question of why I think I can add value to your awareness of how these things work, because I want you to understand. And oftentimes when I go into financial seminars and I talk about the inside story of what institutions do and why they do it, I say it all the time. I am not anti-institution. I'm pro-household. Thank you for asking that, Mr. Rogers. Any other questions, comments, testimony?
Yes, sir. Dr. Bythewood, this is Trevino Kimbrough.
Yes, sir.
My question basically is, excuse me, we are in the business of teaching people how to make money, how to become their own banks. When we do that, how do we teach them, or is it even important enough to teach them how to keep the money? You know, a lot of people can make money, but keeping the money is the key.
So to make you understand how on the same page we are, we're gathered here tonight We just got off of a live trading call to learn how to make the money. And what I'm talking about right now, this opportunity to be able to talk about the whole pie, is exactly what we're dealing with. We're talking about keeping the money. And so the answer to the question is twofold. First, we're already doing it by having a talk with the finance doctor. But here's the more important answer to your excellent question. You said, how do we get them to? And one of the biggest growth opportunities I've had to have as an individual is to recognize that you don't get anybody to do anything. All you can do is provide the information. And as a result, they have to want it. And the moment that I was able to let go of the concept of wanting to get people to learn something, that was when I became an effective teacher. You know, they say, you don't lead a horse to, you can lead a horse to water, but you won't make them drink. That's true. But if you put salt in their oats, it'll make them thirsty. So that's what I try to do, is I try to impart a perspective on you to make you thirsty for the information. But I never, ever put myself in a position where I'm going to get someone to do something. So please know that you and I are saying the exact same thing. Thank you so much for that question. Questions, comments, testimonies? So earlier in this call, I made a comment about how we want to understand the way these concepts work because the institutions have an incentive to state things in a way that are beneficial to them, but not necessarily to us. And that's okay. It's okay that they want to make money. I mean, salespersons do it to us all the time. But our goal is to, in being our own bank, understand the infrastructure, understand how it works so that we can know what's going on. And I kept hearing Ms. Dyer say the word correction, and she, of course, described and defined correction perfectly. But I kept wondering to myself, I wonder if she knows where that comes from. In one of my early consulting gigs, I was a consultant for Chase. I was like 29, and I got an opportunity to go and do rotations at Chase before they became JP Morgan. I was able to do rotations at the Park Avenue, New York office, and I was exposed to a lot of different areas. And one of the things that came up in that situation is when being on some of the trading floors, and hear me, banks trade way more than you and I do, the meaning or the origin of the word correction. So in order for intermediaries to make money, you have to be in the market. You have to trade. If you're not trading, they're not making money. So they have an incentive to put the salt in your oats so you're thirsty to trade. So what they recognize is that when the market is going up, they say the market's going up. The market's going up. The market's going up. Everybody feels good because we associate. They, as in individuals that aren't being in their own bank, understand we can make money on both sides. They operate in the mentality that the market has to go up in order for them to make money. And by the way, that's by design. Because if we only think we can make money going up, then when it goes down, who gets to make the money? The institutions. So what they said was that because the market going up makes everybody feel euphoric, it makes everybody want to participate, that's a good thing. But what about when the market's going down? Do we say the market's going down? Do we say it's declining? Do we say it's a bear market? They said no. What we'll do is we'll call it a correction. The market's going up. Now it's correcting itself. So the correction sends the image that, yeah, it's going down, but it's going to turn right back to the way it's supposed to be. It's supposed to always go up. And so when it goes up, we'll say it's going up. When it goes down, we'll say the market's correcting itself. And it was a way for people to feel good about whichever side the market was going. Now that conversation is just history, because that's irrelevant to us, because we recognize, we're learning that we don't care how the market is moving. We just care that it moves. Like Ms. Dyer said earlier, we just want to ride the wave. We don't care whether we ride left, right, up, green, purple. We don't matter. It doesn't matter. We just want it to move. But that is something that popped in my perspective as an example of the way banks present information. Because to understand, prior to 1933, all investment activity was controlled by banks. So even now we call them different names. We call them Morgan Stanley and we call them JP Morgan, but at the end of the day, they're all banks. So I said all that just to say this. What a value that you and I get to learn these concepts and be able to understand how it works so we put ourselves in a better position. Here's my challenge to all of you. I just shared with you something that you already knew. There are some personal financial topics out there where all of our information has been provided to us by the individuals who sell it to us. So I really want you to, between now and Tuesday, just really reflect on every part of your life in which you participate in some type of personal financial endeavor, whether it's insurance, banking, credit cards, whatever. And I want you to really think about what question you could ask an expert in a non-threatening, objective situation and get some advice on how to set things up, how to look at things, how to view them, how to have an awareness of it. So I expect on Tuesday, there'll just be question after question after question. There'll be so many questions that we'll have to wait and say, we'll pick that up on Thursday. So thank you very much for participating in a Talk with the Finance Doctor. I will now turn this call back over to our host and or hostess.
Wow, thank you so very much, Dr. Bythewood. Thank you so very much. Ladies and gentlemen, this is why we do what we do.